Kiyoshimo, meaning clear frost, was a Yūgumo-class destroyer serving with the Imperial Japanese Navy. The Yūgumo-class was an improved version of the earlier Kagero-class, incorporating slight modifications to enhance anti-aircraft defenses. Each ship carried a complement of 228 officers and crew. They measured 119.17 meters or 391 feet in length, with a beam of 10.8 meters or 35 feet 5 inches and a draft of 3.76 meters or 12 feet 4 inches. Standard displacement was 2,110 metric tons, rising to 2,560 metric tons when fully loaded.
Propulsion came from 2 camp-on-geared steam turbines, each driving a propeller shaft powered by steam from 3 camp-on water tube boilers. The machinery produced 52,000 shaft horsepower, enabling a top speed of 35 knots.
The Yūgumo-class's primary armament featured 6 Type 3, 127mm or 5-inch guns mounted in 3 twin turrets, 1 forward of the superstructure and 2 aft in a super firing arrangement. These guns could elevate up to 75 degrees for limited anti-aircraft use, but their sluggish firing rate, slow traverse, and absence of a high-angle fire control system rendered them largely ineffective against aircraft. Initially, the ships carried 4 Type 96 25mm or 1-inch anti-aircraft guns in 2 twin mounts, with additional mounts added as the war progressed. They were also equipped with 8600 10mm or 24-inch torpedo tubes arranged in 2 quadruple traversing mounts, with 1 reload provided per tube. For anti-submarine warfare, each destroyer carried 2 depth charge throwers and a total of 36 depth charges. Kiyoshimo was the final Yūgumo-class destroyer to be completed, officially commissioned off Uraga on May 16, 1944. Following her commissioning, she immediately participated in a series of training operations that continued through August, after which she was assigned to the 2nd Destroyer Division, together with Hayashimo and Akishimo. Command of the vessel was given to Lieutenant Commander Kajimoto Shizuka.
Between the 18th and 20th of October 1944, Kiyoshimo steamed at full power with Admiral Takeo Kurita's center force toward Brunei, an armada assembling for what would become the greatest sea battle in history, Leyte Gulf.
The air was thick with tension as hundreds of sailors prepared for the coming storm. On the morning of the 22nd, the fleet departed for the Philippines, slicing through the dark waters in tight formation. At dawn the next day, chaos erupted. American submarines Darter and Dace lay in wait. Within minutes, 2 of Japan's proudest heavy cruisers, Atago and Maya, were ripped apart by torpedoes, engulfed in roaring fireballs that claimed hundreds of lives. A 3rd cruiser was left crippled and burning. As the shaken survivors pressed onward into the Sibuyan Sea, the next ordeal descended from the sky. Wave after wave of U.S. carrier aircraft plunged through the clouds in ferocious attacks that turned the sea into a cauldron of smoke and flame. Kiyoshimo maneuvered desperately alongside the massive battleship Musashi, the pride of the fleet, as bomb blasts and torpedo wakes closed in from every direction. American pilots captured haunting photographs of the scene. Musashi, heeling under relentless fire, struck by at least 17 bombs and 19 to 20 torpedoes over 9 unending hours, until she slowly rolled and slipped beneath the waves. Kiyoshimo did not escape unscathed. A single bomb smashed into her decks and near misses rained down, shattering bulkheads and cutting her speed to 21 knots. Her radio went dead, and smoke poured from her hull. Nearby, the destroyer Hamikaze was also hit. Together, the two battered ships turned from battle to mercy. Plucking Musashi's oil-soaked survivors from the fiery sea as night fell over the smoking grave of the Imperial fleet. On the 27th of October, the battered Kiyoshimo limped into the Cavite Naval Yard, her hull scorched and her decks torn to undergo hasty repairs. Once patched and refueled, she made her way back to Brunei, her scars still fresh from the Sibuyan Inferno. Soon after, she was tasked with carrying Admiral Hayakawa to Manila through waters still haunted by submarines and air patrols. From there, Kiyoshimo joined the damaged heavy cruiser Takao, her once mighty companion now crawling south under escort towards Singapore. After a perilous voyage through hostile seas, the two ships reached port, and on November 8th, Kiyoshimo was finally lifted into dry dock, her exhausted crew watching as she underwent the long, uneasy work of being made whole again. On December 26, 1944, while steaming with the San Jose Bombardment Force toward Mindoro, Kiyoshimo's final battle began. U.S. Army bombers struck from high above, their payloads finding their mark. Two direct hits tore through her decks, crippling the destroyer and igniting fires that roared through her shattered hull. Listing and burning, she fought to stay afloat as the formation pressed onward, but her fate was sealed. Hours later, a U.S. PT boat, PT-223, closed in through the smoke and darkness, firing the torpedo that delivered the killing blow. The explosion split her amidships, and Kiyoshimo slipped beneath the waves 145 miles, or 233 kilometers south of Manila. 82 men perished, 74 were wounded. The destroyer Asashimo pulled 169 survivors from the wreck-strewn sea, among them Captain Shiraishi Nagayoshi, commander of Destroyer Division 2, and her skipper, Lieutenant Commander Kajimoto. 5 others were later rescued by American PT boats. This was just further proof that serving on an Imperial Japanese destroyer was not a recipe for a long life. By the end of the war, only a handful of the 169 ships would remain.